Bienvenidos. Welcome, my beautiful people. I couldn't let today pass or tomorrow pass without hopping on and sharing some time with you. So I'm cleansing the space with some white sage, which is an indigenous practice. And as we begin today, I want to honor the land that I'm sitting on, that I'm working from, Susquehannock land, and the peoples of this earth and this land in which I live and reside, the spirits of place, los seres de luz que existen en este espacio. And so today, as I join you, and I'm just getting myself situated as I do, I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about Halloween, Samhain. I want to talk about Day of the Dead, and then just suggest some ways in which we can honor our sacred dead or honor dead, how we might be able to connect with our well and wise ancestors, and why it's important, and even why it's important to, if you're ready and if you choose to do some sacred work, even with those ancestors that you didn't get along with or that you had issues with, or you've just heard stories down the line of your ancestry of, my grandfather was like this or my great grandfather was like that. And so, yes, there's so much to cover. Also, the new moon in Scorpio. So, I don't have this planned. I kind of like put on some lipstick and said, let's come on and talk about this because it's important. So, I'm taking a moment to just ground for myself and just inviting you to ground as well. If you're driving, that's fine. You could listen to this. By the time we get to the little guided part in the middle, I will ask you not to be driving. But for now, we can commune and you can go about your day with my voice in your ear or on speaker because we're not going to do anything that requires you to go deep. But for the moment, invitándolos to close your eyes for a moment, to feel your feet on the ground, your booty in the seat, and just breathe deeply and calling back your power, calling back your energy and only the energy that you need. And exhaling, and then calling back the energy that you need. That's yours. And exhaling, and then one more, calling back your energy and your power, and only the energy that is yours. And releasing what no longer serves. And as we do this, just coming back to our heart, coming back to this space and this time and this moment right here. And then gently opening our eyes and returning from a more grounded place, un espacio más conectado. So we are in these sacred days, right, where everybody's dressing up today. I think I'm going to be a pirate again. Some of you may know that I was in a original rock musical this year, and I was like a Latina pirate. So I might dress up as a pirate because it's easy, or I could be a witch or a priestess. Again, it's easy. Um, what I would say though is that Halloween in so many ways has lost its original flavor and its original intent, right? So Halloween, Samhain, and the Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, each embody a unique tradition and belief. Yet they share these roots in honoring the dead and the transformative energy of the season, right? We're also in the new moon in Scorpio. The new moon is about releasing what no longer serves and then setting intentions for the new. So it's being on the brink of new life in Scorpio, ruled by, ruled by Mars, ruled by um, Pluto and Mars, and it's the energy of birth, death, and rebirth. So it's like a perfect moon to have during this time of the year. We'll get into that a little later. And so Halloween is celebrated widely on October 31st, which is today, and it does trace its origins back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a night where the veil became between the living and the dead, right? The veil became thin between the living and the dead, and people could connect, receive messages from their ancestors. And the Celtic people lit bonfires, they wore costumes to scare off ghosts, and they blended this over time in the late 19th century with the Christian All Hallows Eve, which then morphed over time into the modern candy filled, costume wearing, boo, trick or treat holiday that we know today. Right. So now we have like festive costumes, community gatherings, we have revelry and drink and partying and dancing. And all of it, underneath all of it, there's this undercurrent of the mysterious and unseen forces of life. Personally, just to let you all know, though I was supposed to be in a very small horror film this year that didn't get made, I don't watch horror movies. And one of the reasons that I don't is because I honor the darkness in its truest form, which is death. It is the moment before conception. It is the void. It is the dark earth, the rich earth, where we place the seeds of intentions or literal seeds of life, human or plant life, and we watch it grow. And so the dark to me is not scary. It never has been as a bruja, right? And I'm a bruja in many different ways. I'm a bruja as a Latina, where I would be wearing white, right? And then I'm also a bruja with the European roots, where I would be wearing black. And so today I'm wearing this because I will be wearing lighter colors for Dia de los Muertos on November 1st. So Samhain traditionally is a Gaelic festival and it marks the end of harvest and the onset of winter. It's deeply spiritual. It is rooted in the acknowledgement of ancestral connections. Pagans and neo pagans still observe Samhain as a sacred time to honor ancestors and reflect on the cycles of death and rebirth, often through rituals like candle lighting, right? Guided meditations, something called the Dumb Supper. I think it's called that, yes. And where you place an extra plate at the table, the dinner table on Samhain, and you place food on the table for the ghosts, for those departed, for the energies and the souls of those that are on the other side. Similarly, tomorrow, el primero de noviembre, and el segundo de noviembre, we're going into el Día de los Muertos, right? Celebrated primarily in Mexico. On November 1st, we usually honor children who've departed, right? And on November 2nd, we honor the adults that have departed. And this is a time to celebrate the lives of deceased loved ones. Families create colorful altars called ofrendas, adorned with photos, marigolds, favorite foods, candles, calaveras, which are skulls, other meaningful items to guide souls back to visit the living. So it's believed that on this window of these 2 days, or November 1st, November 2nd, that the souls of the departed are guided back to communicate, to connect. And so many people in Mexico, they start decorating even 2 weeks before. They go to the cemetery and decorate and clean the tombstone and just really put flowers on it, candles. It's a time of grieving. It's also a time to be joyous, to share stories, and to remember this beautiful, like the beautiful times that we had with people, to share the story of those who came before us. And that's where the significance of these times and these days, today, tomorrow, the day after, going into next week, it's a beautiful time because though it may be somber in some ways, although people are dressing in costumes. And for people who are Mexican American or have Mexican roots, it's not so much because they're dressing up, painting their faces as skulls and Katrinas. But for the rest of the folks, right? Maybe like, I don't know, it's something out there. I know that it's something to do with ancestors. And so if you have already a tradition where you honor ancestors, whether it be Celtic, whether it be Hindu tradition, whether it be a Latino tradition or a Dia de los Muertos tradition or your own Wiccan tradition, please, make space and time for that. I've been feeling the presence of my family for the last 2 weeks. And honestly, although Dia de los Muertos is just like 1 or 2 days of the year, for me, I can connect con los muertos like every day. I have an altar up on my office that is right across from this desk where I'm recording this, right? So it's right there. You can see it. It's been there. I was raised with an altar. So I didn't do the actual Day of the Dead the way Mexicans do it, but we had our altar going the whole year with saints, with glasses of water such as this, right? And sometimes un vaso de vino or rum or scotch if that's what the person liked. We cleanse the space and we ask for what we need. We make ofrendas. Sometimes we place candies on the altar, candles, flowers. Um, so I grew up with this. But if you're coming to it and it's new for you, just take the time. And so I wanted to do this video and talk a little bit about that. Then I'll talk about the new moon in Scorpio and how it connects. But one of the things you could do is create an altar. A traditional ofrenda often includes, right, photos of your ancestors. So you could do one that's traditional or one that's not. You can cook their favorite foods, place drinks, candles, marigolds, and items that held significance in their lives, right? You can also consider maybe writing personal notes of gratitude or forgiveness on the altar for them. And if you don't have a picture of your deceased one, you can also take a walk and ask a stone to come on board and be part of the altar, or pick up a bird's feather, or maybe something that belonged to them, right? You can prepare ancestral foods. Cooking their favorite meals is a delicious way to bring the spirit into your home. Share these foods with family or friends to keep the culinary traditions alive. Food is really important. Engaging in storytelling, share stories, memories, lessons learned from your ancestors, whether they're with your friends or family or just with yourself. I've been laughing a lot. I talked to my tia, mi madrina tia, who's 84 in Argentina. We were talking about her dad, my grandfather. We were telling stories the other day. It's an important time for us to connect, to do it with those that are living, to do it with those that are deceased. And, as you tell these stories and you laugh, you might feel tears. It's important to also cry and release, right? Because I really firmly believe that many of us might go into depression or sadness when we hold back our natural emotional flow. And so I like to flow with my feelings. So it kind of moves through me and I can clear and I can just continue like restoring myself. So light candles or incense, right? Use candles to guide their spirits back. Light incense. Listen to music that they loved. They had a favorite song, play it in their honor. Consider even writing a simple poem for them. You can visit their resting place if you have it, visit their grave or cemetery plot, go sit by their tombstone, bring flowers, decorations. And finally, something that I find really important for me and that I do a lot, all every day of the year, is reflect on ancestral lessons and gifts. Take some time to meditate on what strengths and wisdoms and gifts and ancestors that have passed down. I know that for me, there's so many things that I do, like one of my grandfathers loved hypnosis. I got certified in my 20s, right? One of my grandfathers had a guide who had a name who helped him and guided him, and he told me all about spirit guides. Um, my grandparents loved to dance, they loved to sing. My dad loved to sing. My mom was a writer. She worked on radio and TV at one point of her life. Le encantaba hablar, so some of the words that I speak and how I speak in Espanol, it's thanks to her because I didn't learn Spanish in the school system, right? I took two high-level college classes in Espanol and history. One, just because I took an advanced placement Spanish class, because she taught me. It wasn't because I received Spanish from osmosis, it's because she sat with me. And so all of these gifts that they gave me, that they left behind, and also honoring like the actual pattern breaking that you've been doing, right? Like I'm the first female to graduate college. I'm the first one, male or female, to actually live my brujitaness out loud, right? And to do full-time healing work. And I've been doing it for decades. And to be out loud about it, to be artistic at any age, even though I'm married, my family members had to stop performing or even working or creating or doing different things when they got married and had kids. So, what are the ways in which you've also transformed the patterns, giving them thanks for the sacrifices that they've done for your family? There's also ways to do some healing work as well by just really meditating on forgiveness. And so these rituals create a bridge between the past and the present, keeping their stories alive, nourishing our spirits. Now, when we talk about new moon in Scorpio, that's happening at the same time, it's happening tomorrow in Dia de los Muertos. So, in the new moon, we're here to cleanse the space, to clear the old, to release what no longer serves, and to bring into being the new. Because it is a new moon, we will not see the moon in the sky, so know that it is there. And I would invite you to meditate, to ponder, to really think into what are some patterns or ways of living or mindsets or actions that I've taken, right? That have helped me survive, that have helped me thrive, but maybe are no longer working, right? Because it's a time of renewal. But in order for us to have renewal, there also has to be a death to something, right? An end to something. So, what is being asked to be released? what needs to be released, what needs to be brought in, what do we need to clear and cleanse, how do we make the way for the new. And it's in Scorpio. I mean, it rules birth, death, life, rebirth. And Scorpio has so many different aspects to it and symbols of it. We know we have the actual scorpion, we have the phoenix. And so we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be the scorpion, right? Kind of getting revenge at times or stinging back. Do we want to be the phoenix that rises from the flames and forgives ourselves first, forgives others, and then moves forward? And so there's just so many different aspects to the new moon in Scorpio. But I could say this too, that as the new moon in Scorpio comes in, you should look at the area of your chart that has Scorpio in it. And that's going to let you know where the new moon is lunating. Where is there a particular need in that area of your natal chart for a rebirth, right? And so, and if you're interested in getting a chart done, just reach out, let me know. I'll send you the link and the pricing, and we could do that. I love, love, love to do that for businesses and also for just individual natal charts. Now, it's also a time where Pluto is still in Capricorn till November 19th. Pluto has been in a sign, I think, like almost 16 years, and it's about to go into Aquarius. So when you think of Pluto, which is the great transformer, and it drags you down into the underworld, right? Like literally, like you're like kicking and screaming, and it doesn't help because you're still being dragged. We see patriarchy being dragged. We see that the old ways, the old system, the old institutions, the old countries, they're being dragged. There's so much going on right now politically. There's a lot of tension in the air. So if you thought you were going to go to a party and suddenly something's telling you to stay home, stay home. You know what I mean? Listen to yourself. If you were going to stay home and suddenly something tells you to go to a party, then go to a party. It's really important for you to listen to your intuitive knowing and to up your protection spiritually in your home, on your person, in your work, in your business. There's just a lot of things floating around. And then when the veil is thin, it's very easy for us psychic sponges to absorb absorb the collective grief, the collective anxiety, the stress, the worry of all the sides and all the peoples, and also all the things that are happening in the world, right? We have major situations all over the planet, people passing away, people being killed. There's so much war, there's so much fear around the elections. And so it's important to up our protection, to up our cleansing habits, prayer, sleep, eating, drinking water, back to basics, right? To support our system. But also know that Pluto's in Capricorn. It will be moving into Aquarius on the 19th, bringing us into a new era. For the next 16 years, we will be going into a more humanitarian time where we'll be going through a lot of transformation around technology, being humanitarian, healing justice, social justice, equality for all of us, and moving away from the patriarchal stance of Pluto and Capricorn, which really wasn't patriarchal in itself. It was like shaking it to the core, shaking us to the core, and making us realize really what's important to us and for us, each and every one of us, and for the collective. So we've got Pluto and Capricorn right now. We also have Mars right opposite it. It's like right there, right? So we've got these two. And so Mars also is a ruler of Scorpio. We know that it's kind of like aggressive, go-getter, action-oriented. Likes la guerra, le gusta, el pique, likes like el coraje, losing the patience, and as opposite Pluto. So in some ways, a lot of people have been telling me it feels like the calm before the storm. And it might just be because, whatever happens with the elections, that there's going to be some stress either way. And so do what you need to do, honor your ancestors, ask them to support you and help you, especially the well and wise ones, right? And I like to work with the well and wise because the well and wise are like a foundation. They're a foundation of power to help us. When we call in the well and wise, they don't have issues, right, with alcohol and addiction. They're still not dealing with their trauma of enslavement or oppression. They existed either before all that happened or they healed once they got to the other side. So they come in very powerful and very strong and very rooted into the earth and into nature because they've already been through that process or didn't need it. The other ancestors that we have who've been through trauma, who've been through, maybe oppression, abuse, have gone through a lot of things, stress, suffering, they also have opportunities to heal and grow once they get to the other side. And they very well may have also healed and grown so much that they are one of your well and wise, right? Your well and wise could also be famous people who've touched whole generations. They could be friends of family. So it's important for you at this time when the veil is thin, when we're dealing with a new moon in Scorpio, when we're dealing with so many changes, when in December we're going to have so many retrogrades again, and where there's still a lot of tension around elections and such, to up your protection. It's not enough to say, well, I'm a sensitive person and like I take everything on. Well, wake up, brujita, and handle your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, do the saging, do the agua florida, cleanse yourself with this in the forehead, in the nape, in your hands. Just be like, I release what no longer serves. Go around your house and sage it for healing, for abundance, for clarity, for releasing ancestral patterns that may have kept you safe through your lineage, but no longer serve because maybe they're keeping you invisible or keeping you, you know, alone or keeping you without success that you're so desperately wanting. And so this is a really magical, powerful time for us to do what we know, to find out what we don't know, and to just basically and very simply handle our business, right? Of protection. So at this time, if you are driving, I ask you to pause and do this later. And if you're not driving, I want to ask us to go in real quick. It's not going to be very long. And so allowing our eyes to gently close and setting intentions now, the powerful intention is I light this candle. I ask that each and every person that listens to this podcast shares it with someone else, but beyond that each and every person listening to this podcast is able to find time to connect, to honor, to forgive, to receive the blessings of their rich ancestral lineage, to seek out support if needed, and to remember that they're always surrounded and loved by well and wise ancestors. As we keep our eyes closed, al permitir que nuestros ojos estén cerrados, vamos pidiendo que los seres de luz, nuestros antecedentes, nos iluminen el camino, nos llenen de oportunidades positivas, to fill us with positive energies and positive opportunities. And as we allow ourselves to go even deeper, let's take another breath in and ask our deepest knowing, what do I most need to know? What do I most need to know about my ancestral heritage, my ancestral lineage? Taking a deep breath in. What do I most need to know about my ancestral lineage? If we have any questions, asking now, can you please clarify this for me? Asking your intuitive knowing. And imagining now your well and wise ancestors here before you in a beautiful place in nature with the dark night, the sparkling stars. And your well and wise are just sending you so much love and so much healing. And then asking them, how can I honor you during this time where the veil is the thinnest? How can I honor you? ¿Cómo puedo honrar tu presencia, queridos seres de luz? Do you need flowers, water, a dance, a song, food? Breathing in and asking that these answers come to us now in this moment or in our dreams or through an article or a podcast or a dream or a knowing within. How can I honor my well and wise ancestors? Giving thanks now and gently taking a breath, remembering everything. And taking a moment to write down whatever came up for you. I didn't go deep into one because I have a community online called Bruja Rising. It's been going on for 4 years. It's very private. We have 2 events a month. One is for the new moon, where it's a gathering. We do Reiki healing, cleansing, clearing, and setting of intentions, and also astrology, find out the astrology of the moment. And then on the full moon, we gather during the day and we open the soul records, and everybody gets to ask a question. That's why it's an intimate group. And we just did a full out journey last night for the new moon in Scorpio and Halloween, Samhain, and Day of the Dead, el Día de los Muertos. So if you're interested in finding out more information about that, let me know. Make sure to write down whatever came up for you and to again take time to bless, honor, and give thanks for your beautiful ancestors. Dando gracias a mis ancestros. And I'm deeply, deeply grateful for Arnaldo Jose Codorniu, for Cecilia, Arnaldo Modini, for Manuel Codorniu, for Cecilia Gonzalez, for Hortensia Bazán, for Bisabuela González, Bisabuela Porto, Bisabuela Modini, Bisabuela Codorniu, todos los abuelos y las abuelas that I didn't get to know, a los primos y la gente que están del otro lado, giving thanks to all those who walked before me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing the work. That is why I can be who I am today. And thank you, everyone, giving thanks to our well and wise, and to those doing the work on the other side, and remembering to take a moment to honor your beautiful ancestors. Mucho amor.